Shall we begin with a word of prayer?
Začneme s modlitbou.
Amen.
Amen.
Good afternoon.
Príjemné popoludne.
We're going to continue in our study of Ezra 7:9.
Budeme pokračovať so štúdiom Ezdráša 7.9.
And just so that we can resume where we were yesterday, where we left yesterday.
Troška si zhrnieme, kde sme včera skončili.
We were talking, if you remember, we were mentioning some of the reasons why the study of Ezra 7:9 it's very important for our movement.
Ak si pamätáte, spomínali sme dôvody, prečo Ezdráš 7.9 je dôležitý v našom hnutí.
For this reason, it was thought a good idea to go over this topic, even though many of you are already familiar.
A kvôli tomuto to bol vlastne dobrý nápad, aby sme znova si prešli cez tú tému, aj keď mnohí už to poznáte.
And so I was mentioning yesterday that one of the important aspects of our message is the understanding.
Spomínal som včera, že jeden z dôležitých aspektov nášho posolstva je porozumenie.
Is that our reform line, the reform line of the 144,000,
že naša reformná línia 144,000,
we mentioned that is built upon the waymarks of the three geographical obstacles.
Je vlastne postavená na takých 3 milníkoch, ale sú to aj 3 geografické prekážky, ktoré pápežstvo musí poraziť, aby vládlo nad celým svetom. A to je aj v Danielovi 11:40 až 45.
But we also mentioned that our reform line is paralleling or repeating the reform line of the Millerites.
Spomínali sme aj, že naša línia je v paralele s Millerickou líniou, alebo sa opakuje.
And the reform line of the Millerites, I'm going to illustrate it here.
Reformná línia Milleritov.
This is just quickly verse 40 part B. This is for our reform line. We mentioned
toto je
40.
verš, druhá časť, 1989, potom 41. verš, to je nádherná zem, to je budúca udalosť, nedeľný zákon v Amerike, budúca udalosť.
And the third waymark is verses 42 and 43.
A tretí milník sú verše 32 až 33.
Which we mentioned was the universal Sunday law.
Čo sme spomínali, že to je celosvetový nedeľný zákon.
And we also understand that is at this waymark where Michael stands up.
A tiež rozumieme, že je to pri tomto milníku, kde Michal povstane. Takže záver doby milosti.
Daniel 12:1.
Daniel 12:1.
So we said this line is depicting the three geographical obstacles of the papacy.
Takže táto línia vlastne má 3 také prekážky geografické.
But we mentioned that the foundational understanding of this message
hovorili sme, že základné porozumenie tohto posolstva
is that we repeat Millerite history.
Že opakujeme históriu Milleritov.
And we our time of the end is found in the same verse, but part A, Daniel 11:40 part A.
Náš čas konca je nájdený v tom istom verši, ale druhá časť,
Which is 1798.
čo je 1798.
And this is where the first angel arrived.
A toto je, keď príde prvý anjel.
Then we have the arrival of the second angel.
Potom ide príchod druhého anjela.
We mentioned it was April 19th. We're going to prove that probably today.
To bolo 19. apríla.
Of the year 1844.
Rok 1844.
And then this is the third waymark is October 22nd.
A tretí milník je október 22.
So this is the line of the three angels' messages.
Toto je línia posolstiev troch anjelov.
And we mentioned also that more recently we have the light that Lion of the tribe of Judah, the light that Jesus opened for us.
Svetlo, ktoré Ježiš pre nás otvoril,
with Ezra 7:9,
Ezdrášom 7:9,
is that this Millerite history
je to, že táto milerická
that
história,
has served as a template for our history
ktorá slúžila ako taký obraz alebo vzorec na našu históriu,
also it's in itself this history, or at least the history of the second angel leading to the third,
história toho druhého anjela, ktorý vedie k tretiemu,
it's a repetition of the story of the line of Ezra 7:9.
je vlastne opakovanie dejín Ezdráša 7:9.
So we have a line in Ezra 7:9
Máme líniu,
which contains the same waymarks that we find in this Millerite history.
máme líniu v Ezdrášovi 7:9, ktorá obsahuje vlastne tie isté milníky v týchto dejinách.
And when we went to read the verses,
Keď sme
Ezra
išli
7:9
čítať tie verše, Ezdráš
tells
7:9,
us that Ezra left Babylon on the first day of the first month.
Hovorí nám to, že Ezdráš opustil Babylon prvého dňa prvého mesiaca.
And in the 7th year of the king Artaxerxes.
7. roku kráľa Artaxerxa.
And he arrived to Jerusalem
A prišiel do Jeruzalema
on the first day of the 5th month.
prvý deň 5. mesiaca.
And the reason why this history is significant
Dôvod, prečo má toto veľký význam,
is because when Ezra is leaving Babylon, he has with him the third decree of Artaxerxes.
je, že keď Ezdráš odchádza z Babylona, už má za sebou tretí dekret.
So then we went to Daniel 9:25.
Potom sme išli do Daniela 9:25,
Because we want to focus on this word, this expression that the Bible uses about the decree of Artaxerxes.
Chceme sa zamerať na toto vyjadrenie, ktoré Biblia používa pri dekrete Artaxerxa.
Chapter 9, verse 25.
9. kapitola, 25. verš, kniha Daniel.
And says, Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment, that expression it's our focus of attention.
Vec a rozumej, že odkedy vyjde slovo navrátiť Izraela. Odkedy vyjde. Na to sme sa zamerávali.
And this is the starting point for the prophecy of the 2300 years.
Toto je taký začiatočný bod pre proroctvo 2300 večerov a rán.
So we mentioned that the Millerites, they were the ones that were trying to figure out the ending, in order to figure out the ending of the 2300-year prophecy.
Milleriti, tí na to, aby vlastne pochopili ten koniec toho
They needed
proroctva,
to understand where it began.
museli vedieť, kde začína.
They knew that that decree that is being mentioned in Daniel 9 is the third decree of Artaxerxes.
Vedeli, že ten dekret, o ktorom sa hovorí v Danielovi 9, je dekret Artaxerxa.
It has to be.
Musí to byť.
Because even though it was preceded by two other decrees,
Lebo aj keď vlastne bol predchádzaný 2 inými dekretmi,
we are told in Daniel 9 that it reaches until the Messiah, there is 70 weeks or 490 years.
je nám povedané, že po Mesiáša je 490 rokov.
So the other previous two decrees, the decree of Cyrus and decree of Darius,
Tie dve predchádzajúce dekrety
do not fulfill that condition.
nesplňajú túto podmienku.
Because when you add 490 years from the dates of the first and second decree,
Lebo keď pridáte 490 rokov od prvého a druhého dekretu,
they fall short. They don't reach to the period of the Messiah.
nedosahujú do toho obdobia Mesiáša.
So it has to be referring, and the decree of Artaxerxes does reach 490 years into the Messiah.
Čiže musí to hovoriť o vlastne tom dekrete Artaxerxa, ktorý príde po Mesiáša.
What is the meaning of Messiah?
Čo je význam Mesiáša?
It's anointed.
Znamená to pomazaný.
It's pointing to the baptism.
Hovorí to o krste.
So they knew that it was referring to the third decree, but they needed to figure out exactly where to mark that starting point.
Oni vedeli, že to hovorí o 3. dekrete, ale potrebovali prísť na to, že kde je ten začiatok toho.
So this is the 7th year of Artaxerxes, or is the year in our calendar is the year 457
Takže
BC.
toto je 7. rok Artaxerxa a v našom kalendári rok 457.
And in Ezra 7:9,
V Ezdrášovi 7.9
the same chapter where you have the third decree being mentioned,
rovnaká kapitola, kde sa spomína ten dekret.
you have two dates specifically mentioned.
Máte špecificky spomenuté 2 dátumy.
The first day of the first month,
Prvý deň prvého mesiaca,
that is the very first day of that year.
prvý deň toho roku,
This is when Ezra is going to start leaving Babylon.
vtedy Ezdráš vychádza z Babylona.
So that was one possibility.
To bola jedna možnosť.
Then when he arrives 4 months later into Jerusalem,
Potom, keď príde o 4 mesiace neskôr do Jeruzalema,
and those are the two dates that are mentioned.
toto sú 2 dátumy, ktoré sú spomenuté.
So they really didn't see any other option.
Oni nevideli žiadnu inú možnosť.
And we mentioned that the meaning of the word going forth
A my sme spomenuli, že ten význam slova, že vyjde slovo, odkedy vyjde slovo,
seems to suggest, or in the Hebrew language, it means spring forth or generate.
V židovčine to vlastne znamená, že keď to vypučí, alebo keď začne to rásť.
Spring forth or generate. So they thought that it was referring to the time when Artaxerxes generated or signed the decree or gave it to Ezra.
Takže oni si mysleli, že to hovorilo o čase, kedy Artaxerxes vlastne vydal ten dekret, že ho podpísal, bol daný.
So what I'm saying is the meaning of this term going forth.
Ale význam toho slova, že bol daný, alebo v angličtine go forth,
was the key to explain the beginning of the 2300 years.
Bol kľúč, ktorým vysvetlil začiatok 2300 večerov a rán.
If you could place this in time, you can then know when the 2300 years are going to finish.
A keď to vieme umiestniť v čase, budeme vedieť, kedy 2300 končí.
So the Millerites, they were inclined for this first date, the first day of the first month.
Takže Milleriti inklinovali najprv k tomu prvému dátumu,
when the decree was given
keď ten dekret bol daný
Ezra.
Ezdrášovi.
Then we came to explain this part.
Potom sme prišli vysvetliť túto časť.
We mentioned how we can break the 2300 years in two sections.
Spomenuli sme, ako môžeme rozdeliť 2300 na dve časti.
But by adding 457 years plus 1843,
Tým, že pridáme 457 rokov a 1843,
you're going to have a total of 2300.
spolu to dostaneme z toho 2300.
But we know this first part is 457 before Christ.
Ale vieme, že táto štvrtá časť je prvá časť je 457 pred Kristom.
Well, we already explained this part.
Tu sme už vysvetlili túto časť.
We mentioned that there was one condition
Bola jedna podmienka,
for the 2300 years to be completed by the end of the year 1843.
na to, aby tých 2300 mohlo byť dokončených do konca
We mentioned that only condition, because we are talking about full years,
hovoríme o celých rokoch,
was that the decree had to be given at the beginning of the very first day of the year 457.
Dekret musel byť daný veľmi prvý deň v 457.
So when you will arrive to the end of the year 1843,
keď prídeme na koniec roku
technically you will have
1843,
this period fulfilled.
tak bude naplnené toto obdobie.
But what happened if the decree actually went forth, say, 6 months after?
Ale čo ak ten dekret bol vydaný napríklad o 6 mesiacov neskôr?
Then the ending point had to be also shifted.
Tak potom aj ten konečný bod musel byť posunutý.
And we saw that that's exactly what happened with the Millerites. They found out after the first disappointment
A to je presne to, čo sa stalo s Milleritmi. Zistili po prvom sklamaní,
that the decree the 2300 years did not end with the year 1843.
že 2300 neskončilo s 1843.
So what we're trying to see, this year 1843 that we have here,
To, čo sa snažíme vidieť tu na tých 1843, čo tu máme,
it's referring to the Hebrew year 1843.
to hovorí o židovskom roku 1843.
So in order for us to know when the year 1843 ends,
Na to, aby sme vedeli, kedy skončí ten rok,
we need to understand a little bit about calendar, the Hebrew calendar, and how it compares to our calendar.
musíme trošku poznať tie kalendári židovský a náš, ako sa spolu porovnávajú.
So we can then uh, be able to understand what will be the dates that correspond with the ending of the year 1843, which is the first disappointment, and also that will be the first day of the first month in the year 1844.
Potom môžeme lepšie porozumieť, ako korešpondujú tie dni
And then the first day of the fifth month.
vlastne v tých kalendároch jeden s druhým. Prvý deň prvého mesiaca,
Okay.
prvý deň piatého
So
mesiaca.
we mentioned that in the Hebrew time there is the civil reckoning and the ecclesiastical or religious.
Spomínali sme, že ten židovský čas je občianske počítanie a potom náboženský kalendár.
And the civil is the one that begins in the autumn.
Občiansky je ten, ktorý začína na jeseň.
The religious starts earlier in the spring.
Náboženský začína skorej na jar.
So we're going to focus on this. This is the one that we need to look more closely into.
Musíme sa na toto pozrieť trošku zblízka.
But the religious calendar has two variations.
Náboženský kalendár má dve variácie.
The correct variation, the correct reckoning is the Karaite reckoning.
To správne počítanie je karaické,
Because this is the one that follows the instructions given in the Bible to calculate time.
pretože to následuje inštrukcie dané v Biblii na to, aby sme spočítali čas.
And the rabbinical, it's a modification that came later.
A ten rabínsky, to je taký upravený spôsob, ktorý prišiel neskôr.
What I mean is later than the original form of computation that God gave through Moses.
Čo tým myslím je neskôr ako to pôvodné počítanie, ktoré dal Boh skrze Mojžiša.
And the Karaites were a sect, a Jewish sect,
Karaiti bola židovská sekta,
that they were looking into the past and they were trying to recover that form of calendation.
oni sa pozerali vlastne do minulosti a snažili sa používať to, čo im bolo dané na
So the
počítanie.
Millerites, as they were trying to calculate the end of the 2300 years, they had to choose between these two systems.
Milleriti, keď sa snažili počítať medzi týmito dvoma systémami, tak museli vlastne si vybrať.
And even though the great majority of the Jews in the world are using or functioning under this calendar,
Napriek tomu, že drvivá väčšina Židov používa ten rabínsky kalendár,
they were led to reject it in favor of the Karaite reckoning.
boli vedení to odmietnúť v prospech karaitského počítania.
And if you open your notes in page 12, I think it's 12 in mine, yeah.
Ak si otvoríte poznámky
The box that says comparing different time reckonings.
na strane 12-13,
We didn't comment on the Gregorian time.
my sme nehovorili nič o tom gregoriánskom čase.
The Gregorian time is the one that we use today.
Gregoriánsky je ten, ktorý my používame.
It has a Roman origin,
Má rímsky pôvod
and in this calendar, as we know, the year has 12 months.
a v tomto kalendári má rok 12 mesiacov.
The duration of the months, it's from 28 to 31 days.
A tá dĺžka tých dní je 28 až
And the year
31
has a duration of
mesiaci
365
a
days.
dní v roku je 365.
Although we know that in leap years, you will have 366.
A vieme, že v prechodnom roku máme 366.
And the starting point for the Gregorian calendar is at the beginning of the year is in the winter.
Počiatočný rok v gregoriánskom kalendári je v zime.
So if we were, I'm going to erase this part.
Toto vymažem.
If we were considering, for instance, the year 1843,
Keď si vezmeme 1843,
in the Gregorian calendar, it begins in the season of the winter
v gregoriánskom kalendári vlastne to začína v zime
and ends in the winter.
a končí v zime.
This is the year 1843.
Toto je rok 1843.
The same year, but in the religious calendar, Hebrew religious calendar,
V rovnakom roku židovský náboženský rok.
the same year begins the following season,
Vlastne
which is spring.
ten istý rok začína vlastne až ďalšie obdobie na jar.
And it continues until the following spring.
A pokračuje až do ďalšej jary.
This, I should mark this. This is the Gregorian. The first one is Gregorian.
Toto je gregoriánsky.
And this is the Hebrew religious.
A toto je židovský náboženský.
And the civil, we mentioned that begins later in the fall.
A židovský začína neskôr.
We're going to focus on these two.
Zameriame sa na tieto dva.
So this this point here that we have been referring to,
Tento bod, o ktorom sme hovorili,
the end of the year 1843 in the Jewish calendar,
ten rok 1843 v židovskom kalendári,
it's when the first disappointment took place.
vtedy bolo prvé sklamanie.
We already mentioned about the chart.
Už sme o tom hovorili.
Habakkuk 2 had given the order, write the vision and make it plain upon tables.
Habakuk dal veľmi jasný príkaz, že urob to jasné na tabulkách.
So they wrote the vision and the vision said year 1843.
A to videnie napísali a tam sa píše 1843.
And we already explained that how they justified to finish the 2300 years at the end of the year 1843.
My sme už ukázali, ako oni vysvetlili vlastne koniec tých 2300 v 1843.
So when the year 1843 in the Hebrew calendar ended,
Keď rok 1843 v židovskom kalendári skončil
and they enter into the year 1844 Hebrew calendar,
a vojdu do toho 1844
and day after
židovského,
day they realized that Christ had not come.
oni deň po dni si uvedomia, že Kristus neprišiel.
They were disappointed.
Boli sklamaní.
So notice that the year 1843, if it ends in the spring,
Ten rok 1843, ak končí na jar,
in the Hebrew religious calendar,
v židovskom náboženskom roku, kalendári,
this spring, what year would be in the Gregorian calendar that we use?
táto jar by bola vlastne aký rok v našom čase?
Is the year 1844.
1844.
Is the spring of the year 1844.
Je to jar 1844.
So the first disappointment
Prvé sklamanie
comes when the year 1843 Hebrew reckoning comes to its end, when the year 1843 comes to its end.
Keď to počítanie 1843 príde ku svojmu koncu,
And this took place in the spring of the year 1844.
vlastne to karaické počítanie v tom kalendári, a to sa stalo na jar
But
1843.
we're going to look more closely to find the exact date.
Ale pozrieme
How
sa,
to justify the exact date for the ending of the year 1843, the beginning of the year 1844.
pozrieme sa na to zbližšia, ako môžeme vlastne určiť ten presný dátum v roku 1844.
And in order to do that, we have to look another aspect of the Hebrew calendar.
Na to, aby sme to mohli urobiť, musíme sa pozrieť na ďalší aspekt židovského kalendára.
And this has to do with the explaining how the months and the actual year of the Hebrews was function in that time.
A toto nám vlastne ukáže, ako tie mesiace a roky, jak to vlastne fungovalo, tie kalendáre, jak to
So
počítali.
in page 14 you have under the heading Understanding the Hebrew Calendar.
Na ďalšej strane máme porozumenie židovskému kalendáru.
Is everybody there?
Sme tam?
It says, this is taken from Wikipedia.
Toto je z Wikipédie.
Yes. And I read some excerpts. It says, the Hebrew calendar is a lunisolar calendar.
Hebrejský kalendár je lunisolárny kalendár.
Meaning that the
Lunisolárny.
months are based on lunar months.
Čo znamená, že mesiace sú založené na lunárnych mesiacoch,
But years are based on solar years.
ale roky sú založené na solárnych rokoch.
So the duration of the month is determined by the moon.
Takže to, ako dlho trvá mesiac, to určuje mesiac.
But the duration of the year is determined by the sun.
Ale to, ako dlho trvá rok, to určuje slnko.
What marked the beginning of the month?
Čo zaznačovalo začiatok mesiaca?
It's telling us here that it was based on the appearance of the new moon.
Bolo to založené na objavení nového mesiaca.
The mean or the average period of the lunar month is very close to 29.5 days.
Vlastne ten priemer toho lunárneho mesiaca je veľmi blízko k 25,5 dňa. 29,5. Tak.
Accordingly, the basic Hebrew calendar year is one of 12 lunar months alternating between 29 and 30 days.
A taktiež základný hebrejský kalendárny rok je z 12 lunárnych mesiacov, ktoré sa pohybujú medzi 29 a 30 dňami.
So we mentioned the biblical calendar, the one that we are familiar in the Bible,
Takže biblický kalendár, s ktorým sme oboznámení z Biblie,
we know that it has 30 days every month.
vieme, že každý mesiac má 30 dní.
But the actual calendar that the Hebrews were using in biblical times
Ale ten kalendár, ktorý vlastne sme používali v biblickom čase, v biblických dňoch bol používaný,
is based on the moon,
je založený na mesiaci,
the time it takes the moon to rotate or to make a revolution around the earth,
čas, za koľko sa mesiac otočí okolo Zeme,
it takes 29 and a half days.
Trvá 29,5 dňa.
And because you cannot have months of 29 and a half days,
Pretože nemôžeme mať dní, z ktorých bude 29,5 dňa,
the solution is simply to take the half from 1 month and add it to the next month.
zoberieme tú polovicu mesiaca z toho dňa a dáme ju do druhého mesiaca.
To subtract or to take the half of the, you have 29 and a half days.
Máme 29,5 dňa.
So you're going to take that half from 1 month
Takže
and add it to the next.
tú polku k jednému mesiacu pridáme.
So as a result, you're going to have 1 month of 29 days,
Takže ako výsledok budete mať jeden mesiac
and the next
29
month is
dňami
going to have 30.
a ďalší mesiac bude mať 30.
And it keeps repeating, 29,
A to sa takto
30,
opakuje.
etc.
29, 30, 29, 30.
So that's in respect to the duration of the months.
Takže to je ohľadne dĺžky mesiacov.
But when you have 12 months in this fashion,
Keď máte 20 mesiacov v tomto takýmto spôsobom, 12, teda
where
12,
6 months have 29 days and 6 months have 30 days,
6 mesiacov má 29 dní a 6 mesiacov má 30 dní,
you end up with 354 days per year.
dostanete 354 dní za rok.
So that falls short about 11 days from the solar year.
A to je vlastne potom skrátené o 11 dní oproti tomu solárnemu roku.
How many days in the solar year?
Koľko je dní v solárnom roku?
365.
365.
So because the 12 Jewish months,
12 židovských mesiacov,
they were missing 11 days. They were shorted for 11 days.
chýbalo im 11 dní.
Die 12 jüdischen Monate sind insgesamt 11 Tage kürzer.
In 3 years, they're going to be missing an entire month.
Za 3 roky im bude chýbať celý mesiac.
Wenn du 3 Jahre lang machst, fehlt dir in der Summe ein ganzer Monat.
Now, that is a problem
A to je problém.
if, for a specific reason,
Kvôli určitému dôvodu.
I want to show that to you with a quote here.
Chcem vám ešte niečo ukázať.
It's in this under the heading Ancient Hebrew Time.
Toto je pod starovekým vlastne časom Izraela.
We're going to read. This is an article by Joshua B. Himes in the Signs of the Times.
Toto je od Joshua Himesa z
Published in the year 1843.
Toto bolo z roku 1853.
We read. It says,
Zo znamenia doby, časopis
Horn,
znamenia
referring
doby.
to an author, Horn says of the Jewish year,
Horn hovorí o židovskom roku.
Bezieht sich hier auf einen anderen Autor. Horn sagte über das jüdische Jahr:
the Jewish months were originally calculated from the first appearance of the moon.
Židovské mesiace boli pôvodne vypočítavané od prvého objavenia sa mesiaca,
on which the feast of the new moon or beginning of months
na ktorý sa slávil sviatok nového mesiaca alebo začiatok mesiacov,
oder Beginn der Monate gefeiert wurde.
was celebrated. The Jewish months being regulated by the phases or appearances of the moon, their years were consequently lunar years.
Židovské mesiace sú regulované fázami alebo objaveniami sa mesiaca. Ich roky boli následne lunárne roky pozostávajúce z 12 lunácií alebo 354 dní a 8 hodín.
consisting of 12 lunations of 354 days and 8 hours.
Už som čítala, trošku som predbehla.
oder 354 Tage und 8 Stunden bestehen.
Well, I should finish that statement. It says, but as the Jewish festivals were held not only on certain fixed days of the month, but also at certain seasons of the year,
Aber da die jüdischen Feste nicht nur an bestimmten festgelegten Tagen im Monat, sondern auch zu bestimmten Jahreszeiten im Jahr gehalten wurden,
consequently, great confusion would, in process of time, arise by this method of calculating.
Ale keďže židovské slávnosti sa konali nielen v určitých pevných dňoch v mesiaci, ale aj v určitých ročných obdobiach,
sometimes falling on the middle of the winter,
v dôsledku tejto metódy výpočty by časom z toho vznikol veľký
it
zmätok.
became necessary to accommodate the lunar to solar years.
Jarný mesiac by niekedy spadol do polovice zimy a stalo sa nevyhnutnosťou prispôsobiť mesačné roky slnečným.
That their months and consequently their festivals might always fall at the same season.
Aby ich mesiace a následné ich festivaly mohli vždy padnúť na rovnaké obdobie.
For this purpose, the Jews added a whole month to the year,
Židia na tento účel pridávali celý mesiac do roka,
as often as it was necessary, which occurred commonly once in 3 years.
tak často ako to bolo potrebné, čo sa dialo bežne raz za 3 roky a niekedy raz za 2 roky.
And sometimes once in 2 years.
Tento vložený mesiac,
What we're reading here is very simple. If both years began at the same point,
keď obidva roky začali v rovnakom bode,
we're just comparing. They didn't, but we're just
nezačali,
comparing
ale chcem to porovnať.
the Jewish year, which had 354 days,
Židovský rok, ktorý mal 354 dní,
if it were to begin along a solar year,
ak to malo začať spolu so solárnym rokom,
that has 365 days,
má 365 dní,
there is 11 days of difference here.
tam je 11 dní rozdielu.
So when the next year comes,
Keď príde ďalší rok,
now the difference is going to be 22 days.
príde ten rozdiel 22
And the
dní
next
bude.
year,
A potom 33.
The problem with this is, as we read,
Problém s týmto je, keď sme to čítali,
as this solar year
že tento
is the one that the seasons are attached to this solar cycle. This is
vlastne rôzne obdobia sú pripnuté na tie solárne cykly.
we know that it takes the Earth 365 days to complete a revolution around the Sun.
Vezme to 365 dní, aby sa dokončila vlastne keď mesiac prejde okolo slnka.
This is what
Zeme.
produces fourth
Počkať.
seasons.
Zem okolo slnka. Tak. A to nám robí vlastne obdobia.
And the Hebrew year required, the Hebrew calendar required certain festivities to take place at specific dates.
Židovský kalendár vlastne požadoval, aby sa určité festivály diali v určitých dátumoch,
But
dňoch,
also in a specific seasons.
ale aj v špeciálnych obdobiach ročných.
For instance, for the feast of the Passover,
Napríklad
the
Veľká
feast
noc.
connected with the Passover at the beginning of the year,
Veľká noc na začiatku roka.
that you had a feast connected with that. It was the feast of first fruits.
Bol to vlastne
It was
Sviatok
celebrated on
prvotín.
the 16th day of the first month.
16. deň prvého mesiaca.
And the priest was required to wave a loaf what's the term? Wave offering? A sheaf, thank you. Sheaf.
A kňazi vlastne museli dávať také prvotiny, akože s tým mávali. To bola obeta
It
Bohu.
was an offering of first fruits.
Najprv to boli prvotiny,
Before they were allowed to reap the harvest of the barley,
predtým ako boli prvotiny a mohli robiť žatvu jačmeňa,
the priest had to wave that offering.
kňazi najprv museli robiť takú obeť Bohu,
So
obeť pozdvihnutia.
in order to fulfill that requirement of the feast,
Na to, aby mohli urobiť tento sviatok,
which was supposed to take place basically in the middle of the first month,
to sa vlastne stalo v strede prvého mesiaca,
their year, the Hebrew year,
židovský rok
had to be reconciled with the solar year.
musel byť nejak daný dokopy s tým slnečným rokom, alebo solárnym.
So the solution they came up with,
To, s čím oni prišli,
we already mentioned, is basically every 3 years,
každé 3 roky,
to compensate the difference between the length of these two calendars,
kompenzovali vlastne ten rozdiel medzi tými dvoma kalendármi.
they had to insert an entire month.
Museli tam vlastne vložiť jeden celý rok.
Jahre wieder in Übereinstimmung zu bringen, mussten sie alle 3 Jahre einen Monat einfügen.
So what they would do is, when they came to the 12th month of the year,
Keď prišli k 12. mesiacu roka,
Als der 12. Monat des Jahres begann,
they will observe the barley crop,
pozerali sa na žatvu
and they will
jačmeňa
determine if the barley is going to be ripened by the middle of the next month,
keď by ten jačmeň bol zrelý už do polovice budúceho mesiaca,
nächsten Monats reif sein würde,
then we can have the feast of the first fruits.
môžeme mať sviatok prvotín.
Therefore, we will mark that as the first month of the following year. Does that make sense?
Takže to bude ako prvý mesiac následujúceho roku.
als den Beginn des nächsten Jahres festlegen.
But if it was too early, if there was no way that the barley was going to be ripened at the middle of the next, let's say in couple of weeks,
Ale ak by ten jačmeň ešte nemal byť zrelý v polovici následujúceho mesiaca, napríklad za pár týždňov,
they added this month that we are talking about, this leap month.
pridali tento prechodný mesiac.
So then their year became a leap year of 13 months,
A vlastne ten rok sa stal prechodným rokom, 13-mesačným.
and then they could have the feast when the barley was ready.
A potom mohli mať sviatok, keď už bol ten jačmeň hotový.
So that's fairly simple, right?
To je celkom jednoduché, že?
It was. This was actually the system was very simple that God gave the Jews to calculate their time.
Ten systém, akým oni si počítali, ten čas bol vlastne veľmi jednoduchý, akým Boh
It
dal.
was simply to observe the moon,
Mali len pozorovať mesiac
and when the new moon took place,
a keď sa objavil novomesiac,
that was marking the beginning of a month.
to bol začiatok mesiaca.
And we're going to see if you see in the verse, in page 17 of my notes, there is a text, Exodus 12, 1 and 2.
Na strane 17 máme verš z Exodu 12, 1, 2.
You you see it? It says, I'm reading, "And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying."
A Hospodin riekol Mojžišovi a Áronovi v egyptskej zemi.
"This month shall be unto you the beginning of months.
Tento mesiac vám bude počiatkom mesiacov.
It shall be the first month of the year to you."
Prvým vám bude z mesiacov v roku.
And the word that has been translated in English as month,
To slovo, ktoré bolo v angličtine preložené ako mesiac,
in the original Hebrew is actually new moon.
v origináli vlastne znamená novomesiac.
And as you can see in the strong definition.
Vidíme to v Strongovi.
So a literal translation of that verse
Takže doslovný preklad
would read like this.
by bol takýto.
"This new moon shall be unto you the beginning of new moons.
Tento novomesiac vám bude začiatok novomesiacov.
It shall be the first new moon of the year to you."
Bude to prvý novomesiac roku pre vás.
So what we are showing here is this system was given by God.
Tento
Just
systém
to
bol daný Bohom.
Take notice of the phases of the moon and whenever they have a new moon, that was to be marked as the beginning of a month.
Všímať si nový mesiac a vždy
They were simply to observe when the new moon took place,
mali si proste všímať, kedy sa stane nový mesiac, kedy príde
and they will mark that as the beginning of the month.
a mali to zaznačiť ako začiatok mesiaca alebo roku.
But okay, and there's another verse here in Deuteronomy 16:1.
Ešte tu máme 5. Mojžišovu
And it
16.1.
says, "Observe the month of Abib," or Abib, I don't know how to pronounce that,
Ostrihať budeš mesiac Abíb,
"and keep the Passover unto the Lord thy God,
aby si slávil Veľkú noc Hospodinovi,
for in the month of Abib
svojmu Bohu,
the Lord thy God brought thee forth out."
lebo v mesiaci Abíb ťa vyviedol Hospodin tvoj Boh z Egypta v noci.
So this word that has been translated as Abib,
Toto slovo, ktoré bolo preložené ako Abíb,
I mean the word Abib in the Hebrew means, according to the definition, is fresh young barley ears.
vlastne to slovo Abíb znamená čerstvé mladé jačmenné klasy.
And or month of ear forming, of greening of crop, of growing green Abib.
Alebo mesiac, kedy sa tvoria klasy, zelenia sa pole, rastúci zelený Abíb.
So the literal translation of this verse,
Doslovný preklad tohto verša
we could read it this way.
môžeme čítať takto.
"Observe the new moon of young barley ears,
Dodržiavajte mesiac klasov mladého jačmeňa
and keep the Passover unto the Lord thy God,
a dodržiavajte Pánovu paschu,
for in the new moon of young barley ears
lebo na novomesiac mladých jačmenných klasov
the Lord thy God brought thee forth out of Egypt by night."
ťa Pán vyviedol v noci z Egypta.
So God gave them these instructions.
Boh im dal tieto inštrukcie.
Observe the new moon that is connected with the barley ears.
Mali sledovať novomesiac v spojitosti s jačmennými klasmi.
This is when in this month you're supposed to keep the Passover.
V tomto mesiaci máte dodržiavať
So the Passover,
Veľkú noc.
which was celebrated on the first month,
Takže
was
Veľká
connected
noc,
to
ktorá
the
bola
barley
oslovená v
ears.
prvom mesiaci.
So this, as I mentioned, this was very simple
Ako som
system,
spomenul, toto bol veľmi jednoduchý systém.
but this was simple as long as the Jews remain in Palestine.
Toto bolo jednoduché, zakiaľ Židia ostali v Palestíne.
But later, when they were scattered throughout the world,
Ale neskôr, keď boli rozmiestnení po celom svete,
they could no longer observe the maturing of the ripening of the barley in Judea.
nemohli už vlastne sledovať dozrievanie v Judei.
And as a result of that,
A ako výsledok
they came up with a solution.
prišli s
The
riešením,
rabbis came with a solution
rabini,
is to calculate the beginning of the year
že budú počítať začiatok roku
based on the spring equinox.
na základe rovnodennosti jarnej.
So that is an astronomical, it's based on astronomy, observation. Yeah.
Čiže je to založené vlastne na pozorovaní astronomickom.
So that system,
Tento
they
systém
could follow wherever they were. That didn't matter in what country they had been scattered.
Tento systém mohli nasledovať, kde len chceli.
And this is why the Jews, until this day, they continue to observe their feasts.
A preto až dodnes Židia naďalej vlastne tieto svoje sviatky dodržiavajú.
Using that system, this rabbinical system.
Používajú tento rabínsky systém, pretože sú rozptýlení po celom svete.
The one that is simply based on astronomical calculations.
Ten, čo je len založený na astronomickom počítaní.
But in the 8th century,
Ale vo 8. storočí
the Karaite Jews,
Karaiti,
they rebelled against this modification of the calendar.
vlastne rebelovali proti úprave tohto kalendára
And they went back to, they wanted to go back to the instructions given by God in the Bible.
a išli naspäť do inštrukcií, ktoré im dal Boh.
And this is why we refer to this as the Karaite reckoning.
A preto o tom hovoríme ako karaitskom počítaní.
So if you go back one page, where it says the commencement of the year, yes, is one page.
Tam, kde
If you
to
go
hovorí
back one
začiatok
page,
roka,
under
poďme
the heading,
naspäť.
the commencement of the year,
O začiatku roka, strana 16.
barley harvest versus spring equinox. Well, basically, you have a quote that explains what I just told you.
Je tam citát, ktorý vysvetľuje to, čo som vám práve povedal.
So we're not going to read it, but
Nejdeme to
you have the
čítať,
information
ale
there
máte to v
where
poznámkach,
I'm basing this explanation.
na čom vlastne zakladám to, čo som vám vravel.
Okay, so with that in place, we can start trying to figure out in the short time that we have left. Okay, so now we are, I believe, in where we can calculate the correspondence between the Karaite reckoning and the Gregorian.
Myslím, že môžeme začať teraz pozerať rozdiel medzi tým karaitským a gregoriánskym kalendárom. Ako to medzi sebou môže korešpondovať.
So, the point of reference for us
Vlastne taký bod, od ktorého sa my odrážame,
is the 10th day of the 7th month.
je 10. deň 7. mesiaca.
Because in the year 1844,
V roku 1844
it corresponds with the day October 22nd, 1844.
to korešpondovalo s ňom 22. október 1844.
Yeah, what we are going to do is we are going to do the opposite of what the Millerites did.
My spravíme vlastne taký spätný chod, opak toho, čo robili Milleriti.
The opposite of what Samuel Snow did.
Opak od toho, čo urobil Samuel Sheffield Snow.
Samuel Snow knew what the date for the first day of the first month was in the year 1844.
Samuel vedel,
Yes.
ktorý je vlastne prvý deň prvého mesiaca.
Was der erste Tag des ersten Monats im Jahr 1844 ist.
And what he did, he just had to calculate 6 months and 10 days in order to arrive to the 10th day of the 7th month.
On vlastne len musel počítať 6 mesiacov a 10 dní od toho prvého dňa prvého mesiaca, aby prišiel k tomu 10. dňu 7.
You have a
mesiaca.
diagram that shows the comparison between these two reckonings in page 4, I believe.
Mám aj k tomu taký diagram. Je to na strane 4.
This is the first month, the second, third, and the fourth.
To je prvý, druhý, tretí, štvrtý mesiac.
The fifth, sixth,
5., 6.
and this is not proportional, but
Toto není presne v pomere, jak by to malo byť.
this is the 10th day of the 7th month.
A toto je 10. deň 7. mesiaca.
This is the 7th month.
7. mesiac.
So, the first month in the Hebrew calendar, it has 30 days.
Takže prvý mesiac v hebrejskom kalendári má 30 dní.
The next month has only 29.
Ďalší mal 29.
Third month has 30.
Ďalší mal 30.
And fourth has 29.
Ďalší
Fifth
29.
month, 30.
Ďalší 30.
Sixth month, 29.
Ďalší 29.
And in the 7th month, we only are going to count 10 days because it's the 10th day of the 7th month.
A v tom 7. už vypočítame iba 10 dní, lebo je to 10. deň 7. mesiaca.
So what Samuel Snow did, he knew the date for the first day,
Samuel Snow vedel ten deň prvého mesiaca.
and all he had to do is just to
On to len
add
spočítal.
these numbers.
Spočítal čísla.
And the 10th day he found out, corresponded with October 22nd.
A 10. deň korešpondoval s oktobrom 22.
That year was the year 1844.
A to bol rok 1844.
So what we did is the opposite.
To, čo my sme spravili, je opak.
Because as Seventh-day Adventists, we know that the October 22nd in this year
Ako adventisti vieme, že v oktobri
corresponds with the Day of
1844
Atonement.
vlastne vtedy na to padá deň zmierenia.
Sister White tells us this in the Great Controversy.
Sestra Whiteová nám to potvrdzuje vo veľkom spore.
So if we want to know the dates for these two dates,
Ak chceme vedieť dátum pre tieto 2 dni,
all we will have to do is to add these numbers and count backwards.
my budeme musieť počítať tieto čísla a počítať spätne.
And when we have presented this before, we actually do the calculations.
Keď sme to prezentovali predtým, tak sme to aj počítali spolu.
But we're not going to do that right now.
To nejdem teraz robiť.
Just mention quickly here that from the first day of the first month to the first day of the 5th month, you have 118 days.
Od prvého dňa prvého mesiaca po prvý deň 5. mesiaca je 118 dní.
This is when you add these days.
Keď to takto spočítame.
And from here, the first day of the fifth month,
A od prvého dňa 5.
you're
mesiaca
going to have 69 days.
máme 69 dní.
So you have a total of 187 days
A spolu je to 187 dní.
from here to here. So this, in the next diagram you have in the page 6,
Na strane 6, ďalší diagram,
you're going to notice what we did here is line up the Gregorian calendar with the Karaite in the year 1844.
Gregoriánsky kalendár sme vlastne spojili s tým karaickým v roku 1844.
Can you see where it says October 22? It's in a square.
Vidíte, kde to hovorí? Október 22. Tam je taký štvorček.
And it has a 10
Má to tam aj desinku.
under it. From that point, you can start counting backwards.
Od toho bodu
This
môžete
number of
počítať
days,
naspäť.
69 days,
69 dní.
and it's going to take you to August the 15th.
A prídete s tým do augusta 15.
And then you can count another 118 days back,
A zase spočítate 118 naspäť
and it's going to take you to April 19th.
a vezme vás to do apríla 19.
But I think it's even perhaps more clear on the next diagram in page 8.
Ale myslím, že je to ešte jasnejšie, keď sa pozriete na stranu 8.
The one titled Karaite Reckoning and its Correspondence with Gregorian Calendar in the year 1844.
Karaické počítanie a jeho korešpondencia s gregoriánskym kalendárom v roku 1844.
In that diagram, you're going to see that in the 7th month, you have the 7th month there.
V tom diagrame uvidíte,
The 10th day of the 7th month is lining up with October 22.
že 10. deň 7. mesiaca je v spojitosti s oktobrom 22.
And when you start going backwards,
A keď začnete ísť naspäť,
you're going to see, for instance, this. It's going to take you to these dates that we have been mentioning.
vezme vás to do dátumov, o ktorých sme hovorili.
So you see, the first month
Prvý mesiac
has 30 days,
má
right?
30 dní.
In our calendar, the Gregorian,
V našom
the first
kalendári
day of the first month corresponds with April 19th.
prvý deň prvého mesiaca korešponduje s aprílom 19.
And it goes from April 19th, and then 30 days takes you to May the 18th.
A 30 dní nás potom vezme do mája 18.
So all that I did here was just to line up these two calendars, and you can see how these dates correspond with each other.
To, čo
The
som tu
first day
urobil,
of the first month is April 19th,
je, že som vlastne prepojil tieto dva kalendáre, aby sme videli, ako korešpondujú. Prvý deň prvého mesiaca je
the
apríl
first
19.
day of the fifth month lines up with August the 15th,
Prvý deň 5. mesiaca je 15. august.
and the seventh month naturally lines up with October 22nd.
A 7. mesiac je v línii s tým oktobrom 22.
So it's by lining up those two calendars that we can know the exact dates in Gregorian reckoning.
Tým, že to takto dáme vlastne spolu, uvidíme, ako ktorý deň s ktorým korešponduje.
This first day of the first month of the year 1844 was April 19.
Prvý deň prvého mesiaca je apríl 19.
4 months later,
O 4 mesiace neskôr
August the 15th,
je to 15.
is the
august,
first day of the 5th month.
prvý deň 5. mesiaca
And then 69 days later takes you to October 22nd,
a 69 dní neskôr vás vezme do
which is
oktobra
the 10th day of
22.
the 7th month.
10. deň 7. mesiaca.
So you have there the diagrams that show you the corresponding
Máte tu diagramy, ktoré vám
correspondence.
ukazujú tú korešpondenciu.
And I think our time is up, so
Myslím, že už čas
we're
vypršal,
going to close this in this section.
takže ukončíme to. Poďme sa
Shall we
pomodliť.
pray? Dear Heavenly Father,
Drahý nebeský Oče,
we thank you for the opportunity that we have
ďakujeme Ti za možnosť, ktorú máme,
to look into these precious truths that you have been opening from your word.
že môžeme sa pozerať na tieto vzácne pravdy, ktoré si otvoril v Tvojom slove.
And that help us to see the precision in which you guide human history.
Pomôž nám vidieť to, aby sme videli, ako vedieš ľudskú históriu.
But most especially the history, the sacred history.
Ale hlavne tu tie sväté dejiny.
Help us to gain confidence in your leading,
Pomôž nám získať,
that you are
potvrdenie o Tvojom vedení,
leading your people today
že vedieš svoj ľud dnes.
with the same precision that you have done in the past,
Rovnako ako aj v minulosti.
that our faith may be strengthened.
Aby naša viera mohla byť posilnená.
Continue with us in these meetings, we ask in Jesus' name.
Prosíme, pokračuj tu s nami v mene Pána Ježiša.
Amen.
Amen.